G'day guys, it's Tasman from Kacha and I'm here again with my good friend Liz Jones.
Hi Taz, how are you?
I am most excellent.
Good.
Liz and I are talking through the most common questions that Liz gets asked as a career coach by people who are either going for a new role in another organisation or a promotion in their current business. So Liz, what curly question are we tackling today?
So this one is a pretty common one. This one is, Taz, why would you like to work with this organisation?
Yes, that is a almost mandatory question in any interview process.
Oh, for sure. And we find that it tends to come towards the end of the process. Mm-hmm. So I've gone through a series of interviews, I've sent my resume and everything's looking great. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the last questions that my candidates tend to get asked. Typically what we know at this point is that I've already demonstrated my capability for the job, right? So it might be down to me and one other candidate at this point.
Yep.
We've both demonstrated we can do the job, we've got the skills, we've demonstrated capability in the interview process. So this question is all about culture fit. How well are you going to fit in with us?
If I think about the immediate answers that come to mind, I want to be in a high growth environment like you guys. I see that I can contribute something, but perhaps that's not enough.
Look, they're all good answers. Your values really resonate with me. All of those sorts of things are really good answers and will get you by. But what we want to do is we want to take it from good to great. And the way that we can do this is really to tap into the tribal narrative of the organisation. So you might sort of wonder what I'm talking about with tribal narrative. There's a great book for any of you that want to read it called Tribes by Seth Godin. So Seth talks about how as humans we are wired to become part of a tribe.
Totally.
We want to connect with other people who think the same way, share the same values and are like us. So on an organisational level, organisations are tribes and they have their own internal tribal narrative that's different to what they put out in the marketplace. It's different to their marketing. It might be different to what it says on their website just about values. It actually runs a lot deeper than that. I can give you a good example of this and how we can elevate this conversation. So one of my candidates was going for a job at a bank. And you might sort of think, well, all banks are pretty much the same. There's not a great deal of difference, right? So what we needed to do was articulate in the interview when he was asked this question, why do you want to work for us? Why this bank and not the other bank? Okay. Now we could just go onto the website and look at the values, but what we actually did is we did a bit more research about what that bank had been doing over the last few years. Now, this particular person was in the change space. So a great innovator, really forward thinking and wanted to be part of big change. And the role was actually really closely linked to that. So what we did is we sat down and said, well, what are the really substantial innovations and changes that this bank has made? For this particular person, he came across something they'd been doing which was really different to other people in the market at the time. And that was for all their business banking clients, they'd set up a central hub in the CBD so that they could all come in and use that central hub as long as they were business banking clients. It was something none of the other banks were doing. And it showed a real connection to their customers, but it also showed them thinking outside the box a little bit. So for this candidate, that really resonated strongly. So he was able to go into the interview at that point and say, well, the reason I want to work with this bank is that you guys are ahead of the innovation curve. You're doing things really differently for your customers. And I love the way that you set up that hub and that you did that before anyone else thought of doing something like that. That's the way that I think too, and I've demonstrated that to you in the interview process. So that's why I think we'd be a great fit for each other in the future.
That is such an interesting answer. It's something that's not immediately available on the website or the brochures. It's something that relates to the specific role that I'm going for, and it's something that is congruent and personal and all in the field of banking, which can perhaps sometimes not be that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So for more curly questions that might come up in an interview process and the elegant and interesting ways to deal with them, stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming for you.